G'day. This is Charlie, and I'm coming to you with your daily dose of business inspiration. Topic number 220, empathy in leadership. I adore leadership. I love the topic of leadership because that is what makes us good business owners. It's what makes us successful business owners, actually leading and being leaders and not just managers in our businesses. I also like empathy in leadership or empathy in general because it's what makes us good people, better people. As with all of my videos, I am going to invite you that if you disagree with something I'm saying, if you have a different view on something I'm saying and you want to challenge what I'm saying here, leave comments. Come across to Locals if you want and leave comments there. askcharlyleetham.locals.com. Leave comments there. Leave comments on wherever you are watching or listening to this podcast. I really adore commentary. I adore having conversations around these things. You can tell these things make me happy. I actually really enjoy doing these sorts of topics and having conversations around them. Now, I'm sure you've all heard the adage, walk a mile in their shoes. Well, today what I'm going to talk about leans right into that. We're going to talk about empathy mapping and how it can, might, should make you a better leader. Empathy mapping, the idea is not just to observe your team from the outside, but it's to truly step into their experiences, understand their thoughts, emotions, and motivations as if they are your own. When you do that, you're going to start walking that mile in their shoes. You're going to do more than just acknowledge their challenges. You're going to gain a deeper understanding, more nuanced understanding of what drives their behavior. This is going to give you a perspective that is going to allow you to lead with greater insight and compassion. It's going to allow you to make decisions that resonate more deeply with your team and address the root causes of issues rather than just symptoms. Now, I do have notes that I am reading from. I'm not reading the notes verbatim, but I do have notes that I'm reading from because I want to make sure I get all of this information out to you. And I don't want to miss something. So please forgive me if it looks like it's a little staged. It is. Empathy mapping takes this whole concept a little further by providing a structured way to explore and document the insights that you gain. It's going to help you apply that understanding in a practical and actionable way. It's about moving from a place of sympathy, where you feel for someone, to a place of empathy, where you're feeling with someone. And it's going to allow you to make more informed decisions based on that shared experience. Now, that's a really important thing that I want you to remember there, is that sympathy is where you feel for someone. I'm really sorry that happened to you. Didn't happen to me. I don't have any feeling for how that would go. I don't even really know how I would feel when it happened to me. To empathy of, I'm really sorry this is happening. I'm really sorry. Or, yes, I can understand that you are really angry about this because, yeah, I feel that anger myself, or I feel that dissatisfaction myself. Empathy is about feeling with, sympathy is about feeling for. Okay. What is empathy mapping? Empathy mapping, sorry, I'm just going to restart that. Empathy mapping involves creating detailed profiles or personas that captures the emotions, thoughts, and needs of your team members in specific situations. If this sounds a little familiar, you might want to go back and watch some of my sales videos about how you find your target audience, because we talk about creating personas for our target audiences too. And it's a very similar strategy. We've got to know who we're selling to. We need to know what drives them. We need to know what they're thinking, what their emotions are, what their needs are, and in what situations those things occur. So this is the same thing with empathy mapping for our team. We need to have those personas for our team members in specific situations. The idea is that we're going to step into their shoes, not just to understand what they are doing, but why they are doing it, what they are feeling, and what external or internal pressures might be influencing their behaviors. If you think that sounds a little challenging, it probably is, because how do we, and I'm just going to go off script here a little, digress, that's the word I want. How do we experience the emotions of someone else. Well, this is a skill that we as leaders need to develop. Absolutely. So here's some steps for creating an empathy map. The first one is identify your key personas. Start by identifying the different roles within your team. You've got support, you've got admin, you've got technical, you've got finance. There's four roles that I can identify fairly quickly. I'm sure you have more. They might be based on job function. They might be based on seniority or even personality types. There you go. So maybe rather than having them in those four categories for job types, maybe you've got she's really outgoing, they're an introvert, these people really like numbers, these people like feelings, colours, something. Get your personality types done. Each persona should represent a group of individuals with similar experiences and needs. You need to then define the context. Choose a specific situation or challenge your team is facing or will face. This could be anything from a delayed project to a major change in company policy. So in this case, I'm going to talk about the fact that we brought on, Gail and I, brought on a couple of extra team members, and we grew our team actually very quickly. We grew not significantly, but enough fairly quickly. And we not only had to bring on these new team members, but we also had to manage our existing team members and assure them that they were okay, that we weren't looking to move them out. We weren't looking to take work off of them. We weren't really looking to make any changes to their work, but we really just had enough work that we needed to bring on more people. So there is one of the things that we had to think about, how to manage each of the individual team members through that process. Then we want to explore the 4 quadrants. Now, what the hell are the 4 quadrants? Well, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that, Charlie. What are they thinking? What thoughts are running through their minds in this situation? Are they worried about meeting deadlines, or are they strategizing on how to overcome obstacles? What is it they are thinking in this particular moment? In my example, it might have been, am I going to lose hours? Are they going to take hours off of me to give them to this other person? Valid thing to be asking yourself. What are they feeling? What emotions are they experiencing? Are they frustrated? Are they anxious, motivated, excited? Emotions drive behavior, will often drive behavior more than logic. So this is really crucial area to explore. And whilst I don't think that we should allow our emotions to drive us and our behaviors, we have to acknowledge that emotions do have a significant impact on them, or may have a significant impact on our behaviors. The next quadrant to explore is, what are they saying? What are they communicating to others, to each other, to others, both in public and in private conversations? Are they expressing concerns openly, or are they holding back? What are they saying to each other? Are they like, well, what have they told you? Oh, I've heard this. Are they spreading rumors? And I'm not going to even say that that's a wrong thing at this point. Is this what they might do? Might they be talking to each other behind the scenes and trying to find what the common pieces of knowledge they have are? And then the final quadrant is, what are they doing? How are they behaving in this situation? Are they withdrawing, taking initiative, or seeking out help? There's only 3 things. They might be doing other things. So ask yourself those 4 things. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are they saying? And what are they doing? 4 things that you've got to ask yourself. Then you need to do a deep dive. You need to look at the daily challenges that your team are going to experience. What are the day-to-day hurdles your team members face? This could be something from tight deadlines, lack of resources, or personal stressors. Or in my team's case, the fact that Charlie goes, here's the list of things that need to be done today, work it out. I don't like to micromanage. I've said that before. I've told my team that. And I know that that has actually proven a little challenging, and I've had to change some of my leadership style to help some of my team members, help them achieve greatness themselves. What are their motivations? What drives your team members? Understanding whether they are motivated by recognition, achievement, job security, or personal growth can align your leadership approach to meet these needs. So, what is it they want? Does someone want recognition? Do they want you to say, "Hey, Gail, you did a fantastic job today"? Or do they want a little bonus in their pay packet every couple of months? Just a little bit extra that they don't know is coming, that you give them. Do they want, maybe they want gift cards. Maybe you can give them a gift card and say, "Yeah, I really appreciate the work you've been doing." Do they just want to know that they're going to have a job in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years? Or do they want to grow out of what they're doing and grow into something else? Because that's something as managers and as leaders, we can help our teams do too. Then you need to look at their fears and their concerns. What keeps them up at night? This might include fears of failure, concerns about job security, or anxiety over work-life balance. So fears and concerns and motivations are very closely linked. They are different, but they are very closely linked. Once you start to have all of this information together, you are now getting yourself a really good empathy map that you can start applying and saying, "Okay, I am going to be talking to Gail today. Gail, I think, is going to respond in these ways. So I can now start to speak to these things and move her through, or help her move through that, rather than sitting there going, I have no idea why you just responded that way. I really don't. What were the words I used that made you do that? Or why did you, what were the words you heard that elicited such a response? Not made you do that. That's a terrible thing to say, Charlie. All right. Let me have a look at a real world example. I've already given you a couple from my own personal anecdotes, but I do have an example here that I thought I might run through if you would like to do that. Let's have a look at a delayed project. Traditionally, a leader might focus on the logistical aspects of the delay, what tasks were missed, which deadlines were pushed, and how to get things back on track. However, with empathy mapping, you may want to take a different approach. A critical project is delayed by 2 weeks. Here's the scenario. And the team is visibly stressed. Instead of addressing immediately the missed deadlines, you decide to create an empathy map. Thinking. Team members might be thinking about potential repercussions. Will this delay affect their performance reviews? Will they lose money? Will they lose their bonuses? Are they going to have to work overtime to make up for lost time? Is someone going to publicly say, "It was your fault that this was delayed. You should have done better"? Recognition. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? They may be feeling overwhelmed and anxious. Fair enough. There's a delayed project. That would be a reasonable thing to assume they're feeling. They may be feeling this, especially if they're juggling multiple responsibilities. Some might be frustrated if they feel they're not being seen or heard or supported. Been in teams like that where I've said, "Guys, this is, you didn't listen. I told you this was a problem. I told you, and I told you this is what was going to happen." Yeah, frustration's a big one. What are they saying? Publicly, they might be expressing determination to meet the new deadlines, but in private, they could be voicing concerns about burnout or lack of resources. Someone might actually also be talking about the fact that they've got another project that they need to be starting, and if they don't get this one finished, that one's going to fall or fail or be delayed, and that's going to cause more problems. So now you can see how you're getting a picture of what they might be doing. And finally, what are they doing? Some team members might be working late into the night. Others might be withdrawing, and a few could actually actively be seeking solutions. So now you've got four things that your team, the four things that your team are doing: thinking, feeling, saying, doing. And we're going to use the empathy map. You realize that the root cause of the delay isn't just a missed deadline, but a combination of factors: overwork, lack of communication, possibly insufficient resources. Instead of just pushing for faster results, you decide to reassess your workload. You're going to adjust some workloads to ensure team members aren't stretched too thin, perhaps by reallocating resources or extending deadlines. Extending a deadline is an absolutely valid thing to do in the case of a project that has gone off the rails. It requires a little bit of communication with the client, but it's a logical thing to do, don't you think? You decide you're going to improve some communication, so hold a team meeting to openly discuss the challenges they're facing, showing that you're listening and ready to make adjustments. I would actually recommend that in this case, it's not just one meeting you hold. It's not just one thing that you do. You would probably want to do it a couple of times. Have regular updates with the team during this process, just so that they know that you're still there, that you've not just dumped it on them and you've walked away. You're also going to offer some support. So provide additional support, whether it's extra resources, mental health days, or just one-on-one check-ins to see how each person is coping. As the team leader, if you're not actively involved in the project, you might want to get actively involved in the project. Even if it is, and here's a great example I can give you, I was doing a tender, which is a really, really big RFQ, a request for quote for a government agency. And I was the tender manager. I had got my plans together and the printer was slower than we expected. So I had allowed a little bit of time for the printing. I hadn't allowed enough. Wasn't actually anything I could do about it, but what that meant is that it's coming off the printer much slower. I've still got to get it bound. I've got to get it into folders. I've got to get the folders into boxes. I've got to get the boxes wrapped, and then I have to get it delivered. And my boss decided that rather than standing around saying, Charlie, make the printer work faster, because I can't do that, he actually got in, and as the papers are coming off, he's collating the documents for me, and he's hole punching them, and he's putting them in the binders and getting them ready to go into the boxes, because that was something he could do. I had people there that were doing it. It just spread the load a little bit further, which was great, took the stress off of other people, but it also made us feel that he was part of it and he had ownership of this. And that was a really wonderful thing for me. There's a personal anecdote that I can slide right in there. The outcome of it is, by addressing these emotional and psychological needs of your team, you've not only resolved the current issue, or you're not resolving the current issue, you're not only resolving the current issue, but you're also building a stronger, more resilient team. See my comment about my boss coming in and doing something as mundane as punching papers. Productivity may improve not just because you've met a deadline, but because your team feels genuinely supported and understood. Such an important thing. Empathy mapping allows you to go beyond surface level problem solving. It helps you understand the underlying dynamics that affect team performance and morale, enabling you to create more effective, human-centered leadership strategies. Okay, that is a hell of a lot of jargon. What it's saying is that you are going to increase your team performance and morale because you are looking at the humans in all of this. You are looking at the humanity that actually forms your team. You're not just looking at them as little automatons that go out and do a job and they're bad children if they don't get it done, right? So I think that's really important. It can be a game changer in how you lead, helping you to anticipate problems before they arise, address the real issues affecting your team, and ultimately drive better outcomes for your business. What do you guys think? Is this something that you might be able to do with your team? Is it something that you might, you probably need to do a little bit of training. You probably need to do a little bit of work around it. You probably need to do some resetting of your own mindset to try and get into the mindsets of your team members. But is this something you can use? I would love to know whether it's something you have been doing naturally yourselves, whether it's something that you go, I couldn't care less what they're thinking. They're here to do a job and they've just got to do that job. Let me know if that's one way that you've been managing it. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to have the discussion around it. Tomorrow we are going to be talking more about mindfulness, which I think is actually really good, flowing on from empathy into mindfulness, where I'm going to do another deep dive, something like this, I hope. Like I said, I'm doing a lot of research and a lot of investigation before I do these podcasts, so I can bring some, hopefully it's gold to you, or diamonds to you. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you find out when I put out my next daily dose of business inspiration, which will be tomorrow. It is daily. It comes out at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I know that you all get busy, and I know that we've got lots of calls on our time, so ringing that notification bell will hopefully set off something on your phone and you can go, oh, Charly's dropped another episode. Let's go have a listen to it. I would love that. Please, if you're listening to this anywhere where you can leave a review, please leave a review. I do love 5 stars, but I love the feedback in general. It really does help. Guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope that your leadership is empathetic. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.